are so many people out there who want to volunteer and find a way in which they can help.
We've got some brilliant people that have come out of the school system here in Attleboro.
You actually perform as an elected official the way people should.
There are no agendas. Nobody has any projects that they have to complete, but we're just sharing information.
Welcome to a new episode of People It's Good to Know. I'm your host, John Davis, and tonight we're very fortunate to have one of our local city councilors with us, my good lifelong friend, Mike Angelo. Mike, thanks so much for being with us this evening.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Leading up to this evening, I realized that I've interviewed a lot of people that I've known for a long time, but you're probably the person I've interviewed that I've known the longest. I think we were in kindergarten together over 50 years ago.
Yeah, Tiffany.
Yeah,
Tiffany.
So it's kind of funny how quickly time goes. You know, it's as we get older, time goes faster and faster. But since the pandemic, you've been elected to the city council, and why don't you just tell us a little bit about your background and how you went from being a kid when we were growing up to how you ended up becoming a city councilor?
Well, as you know, we've been lifelong residents of Attleboro, and I've had a couple stays where I was in the Marine Corps. I was a forward air controller from 1983 to 1989. I was in the reserves, I should say, and so that was quite interesting, and that took me a lot of places, and spending a lot of time in the Mojave Desert. So it was interesting. It was a great learning experience. Very discipline-oriented, as you know, in the Marine Corps, and it was something that very proud of and very happy to do.
Excellent. I mean, that's great training for a lot of things in life. Discipline applies to a lot of different careers in the future. So, after you got out of the military, what did you do as a profession? Well,
I ended up going into. Well, backing up a little bit, I wanted to be a state trooper. Oh. There was a lot of military, especially Marines. It was kind of like a natural thing. I'm going to be a state trooper. And that's what I wanted to do. But back in, say, the early 80s, 85, there was not any openings for any state troopers or any police officers in Massachusetts. Yeah. So I tried, and that didn't happen. And because they just weren't hiring. And so then I ended up buying my first house at maybe about 22 years old. Wow. In Pawtucket.
That's an accomplishment in its own.
Yeah, that was, I don't know how often I would recommend anybody to do that, because that was quite stressful. But I got into working about 4 jobs almost immediately, and, doing the landscaping and working at Whiting and Davis, and working a lot of overtime. Having that house, and I was literally right at the Attleboro-Pawtucket line. Didn't do anything in Pawtucket. Still went into Attleboro all the time until I could get to the point and afford a house in Attleboro, and had my first house in Attleboro on Oak Hill Ave. I mean, I was born in Loneycut in Attleboro, and then ended up being on Oak Hill Ave for a few years, and then my mother's house burnt down. Helped build her a house with the family and stuff, and because there was no insurance, no nothing, and built her a house, and that she was able to live out her final years in, and bought the house around the corner on Spruce Lane from Oak Hill Ave, and where I'm at now for I don't know how long, 20 plus years or something or other. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. That's great. I mean, I know you had a background of having worked multiple jobs in your life. I mean, I think everyone who knows you knows that you're a really hard-working individual, and a good example of what you can achieve if you're willing to put in the hours and the hard work.
Yeah. A few college courses, but really it was, gaining institutional knowledge and working, Attleboro being a jury business and working in those industries, Levins Awards, first Whiting Davis and Levins Awards, and then a company called E.A. Dion in Attleboro, which is a phenomenal company that is one of my favorites that I've ever worked for. It was great. And then I ended up working at Leach Garner, got into sales at Leach Garner, or Stern Leach at the time when I was there, and had a great, fun sales career there. And then now I work in Connecticut.
It's amazing. In a lifetime, all the different companies you can have the opportunity to be employed by, and the different people you've had the chance to meet over the years, I'm sure is quite interesting.
Oh, it is very interesting, and it's all around the world. You know, I know people in China all the way to Hawaii, you know, and everywhere in between.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so, what was it that got your interest in running for city council?
You know, full disclosure, I've always said I hate politics.
Most of us do.
I've always said that. I've always said that. I mean, I'm completely honest and an open book. I just didn't like the slowness, the procedures, the rules. I've always been a business guy, helped building businesses, growing them, and you need to grow it fast. You don't have time to just wait. So it's a conversation in the hallway. This is what I'm thinking of doing. Let's get this done. And a lot of that stuff happens, and it goes. I mean, I'm with a company in Connecticut now. It was a very small company, and they were about $3 million when I started, and now they're about $7 million in 3 years later. That's not all because of me, but I'm one of some great people that are there and helping out.
Yeah, you've had the opportunity to participate in significant growth. And just like you, I mean, I first got involved in politics over 30 years ago for the same thing. You know, local government seemed all about bureaucracy. And as a business person, I just couldn't believe how simple things could be made so complicated. And it sounds to me like you had the same view.
Oh yeah. You know, the thing that really got me in, and a lot of it started with Jay Delisio. He came to me, and he was new in Attleboro and asked me about being on his campaign, and I told him, I said, I really don't care for politics, but I know a lot of people. I've been in Attleboro. I've coached so many sports. I will, you know, help you get to know people and stuff. And this was before he'd gone on the council and stuff. And I back then I could see that he was really invested in wanting to do this, and he was really passionate about it. So so I did, and I was always more of wanting to help people. And then Jay was talking to me a little bit, and then Kate Jackson, my neighbor, great neighbors, her and Keith, wonderful people. And they lived down at the one end, I'm on one end of the street, they're down at the other end, and Kate started mentioning it to me and saying, hey, I'm not gonna, you know, run for Ward 4 again, and we think you would be a great fit. And that's kind of how it would kind of get started. And I looked at it as, okay, one, I hate politics, but I love helping people. So I always did it kind of quietly. You know, a lot of things I did, I just really wouldn't tell anybody about it. And then I looked at it and says, okay, maybe this is a larger stage. Maybe I can bring more attention to some things. Maybe I can do some more.
It's amazing how many things like that we actually have in common. And we skirted over a lot of the good volunteer stuff you've done in your lifetime. Things like you said, coaching Little League, and things related to the animal shelter. And I mean, so well, tell us a little bit about some of the volunteer stuff you've done, because you have had a lot of good things you've done. Some of it that I really never posted on Facebook, never. It's just, you know, a lot of you know, needy families in the holidays, or just needed some extra food or whatever, and it was about, you know, maybe having a pizza dropped off to them, or maybe having some food for the kids, or whatever the toiletries were, or just let's getting together and having let's get some, you know, some presents so they can have something under the tree. And then recently, and I work with a lot of rescues, and I had a family. Well, my son, it started with my son, and he came to me and said, hey, this family wants a dog. And so I gave him some options, because I work with a bunch of rescues, and just nothing was getting their attention. And so I asked my son, hey, what's going on? He said, well, they really have no money. They're trying to get on disability. The husband got sick, and he wants to work, but he can't because of his illness. And so they just bought a house, and they get no income coming in and stuff. And I said, okay, maybe right now is not a dog is the answer right now, but let me see what I can do. So I posted it on Facebook, got people to look at this cause, and the response was incredible. People were just, my phone was ringing off the hook with people wanting to donate stuff. And it really brought a tear to my eye. It was really incredible. And then I had Nick Lavoie and Tim Morin from Pristine Property Maintenance. These guys, I mean, they have
as much as they like to have fun on Facebook, these guys, they do an incredible business. They do a great job. The quality is fantastic. I've turned them on to people that come back to me and say these guys are just phenomenal. But they went out and bought 3 brand new bikes for this whole family. Not, you know, they approached me. I didn't approach them, and that was great. And I had there was Attleboro Angels that we just gave a citation to.
Yep.
I mean, they got in there and said, okay, look, we got this now. We're taking care of this. And so I already did a bunch of things, got some money to help them with paying their mortgage and doing a lot of other things and getting some heat for the house and stuff like that. And Attleboro Angels stopped in. Jennifer Spalding and Deb Riley they took over, and they got all their followers, you know, and just...
See, isn't it amazing how many people there are out there who want to be involved with a good cause if you just make them aware of how they can help?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Sometimes all it's just a matter of asking people to help, and everybody steps up.
Yeah. And they got to the point where Christmases for Kids, at some point, they just stop. And Attleboro Angels just kept on going. So we had so much of a great response from my Facebook page and then from Attleboro Angels' Facebook page that they were able to help out a bunch of other families that Christmases for Kids couldn't help out. And they just kept family after family after family. And like on their Facebook page now, it still is, you know, someone on there, I noticed someone on there that needed a wheelchair. And then Eddie Gomes, who lives in Attleboro, is my old neighbor on Oak Hill Avenue, still close to me, and he's a great guy, and he's known as the super fan of the Celtics, and he's just a phenomenal neighbor. And he was, you know, he had a chair that was from his mother, wasn't using, she'd passed. And so I said, Ed, I know there's someone at Attleboro Angels, and got them hooked up together. And so now he's donating that chair to Attleboro Angels that are donating it to someone else that needs it. They just don't stop. It's 24/7.
Well, that kind of stuff builds on itself.
Yeah.
You know, because once people help and they see how much fun it is to help others, it only makes them want to help more.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, and I try to help out with the VFW. Jerry Lynch heads it up over there, does a great job. And you know, you've been there.
Yeah, I've been there for the luncheons.
Yeah, exactly. And they do a great job. And then there's you know, and I love, I mean, obviously we get a lot to do with the Council on Aging and stuff, and I try to quietly help out the homeless where I can, and right now I'm trying to work on, I have a family that has their brother in Turkey, and we're trying to work out on how can we get him here. So that's a big one, and actually he's not even here in locals. This is not even an Attleboro thing. That's in Connecticut stuff. So it's someone I work with in Connecticut. So we're trying to get his brother over here because obviously with everything going on in Turkey and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that, and as passionate I am about helping people, as you know, I'm probably more passionate. I hate to say this, but I'm more passionate about helping pets and stuff, you know. So, and don't get me wrong, I love helping people, I do, but pets can't do anything for themselves. They can't, and it just breaks my heart to think that someone is either being abused or sitting in a kennel or whatever. And it all started with my daughter wanted a dog, and I ended up going in and really didn't want to get another dog because I already had a retriever, had a couple pugs, and they had passed, and that is a very difficult thing for me to lose a pet. It's just, it weighs on me incredibly, and I can't always keep going through that. So I ended up having I went down to the shelter and met with them, and my daughter was looking at this one dog, came out, and he was just super, super friendly. And he immediately went out, going to the bathroom, came over, started looking at all our faces and stuff. And we made 2 more trips down there. And then we went down there, and they were going to have it neutered, and then we were going to take him. We're like, no, we're just taking him now. We're going to take him now. And we weren't sure how it was going to be because, you know, he wasn't fixed.
You never know.
Yeah, so we had the squirt gun in the house, you know, just in case. And because we had bringing him into another, you know, we had I think we had the retriever at that time, and then we had plus we still had one of our pugs and everything. So we got this big, you know, boxer bully mix, and just beautiful, and he just loved everybody, you know. And it was like we had a cat, and immediately he was just, all he wanted to do was play with everybody.
Yep.
And it was just, and that kind of got me started on him, and I have him to this, I still have him to this day, and he's just incredible. And I have a retriever, and then I took in another rescue that I have, and I took in another rescue cat, and it's like,
because well, I constantly see how you post on Facebook continuously things related to helping dogs. It seems to be a daily thing for you.
And I'm working on bringing a rescue to Attleboro. There's a rescue in Connecticut that I work a lot with, Erin Monroe, and she lives in North Attleboro now, but she commutes to Connecticut. So they're going to keep the rescue in Connecticut and bring one to Attleboro. So we're working on getting that done, and we're going to do a special permit and stuff. And but they got the place all picked out, and it's been a while. We've been working on it for literally close to 9 to 10 months, and we're just fingers crossed that we can pull this off. So we'll have that much more to be able to help
fantastic.
the dogs.
And now I'm sure people at home watching can see your passion for helping people. And tell us a little bit about how that applies to your new role in the city council, and what are your committees and jurisdiction on the council?
So I'm the head chair of Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services, which kind of falls in pretty good with me. And the vice chair is Ty Waterman, who's a great city councilor.
Yep, Ty's a good guy.
Yeah, we got Peter Blair's been there forever.
Yep.
Yeah, and he does a lot, for the city too as well. And but it fits well with me, talking to people, getting people appointed on committees and stuff like that. But a lot of people know me in town. They know they can give me a call, and what it might be. It might be sidewalks. Right now we're working on, the former mayor wanted to put sidewalks in on Pike Ave. And when I was knocking on doors and talking to people, everybody said, we don't want sidewalks in Pike Ave.
Yeah, that didn't sound to me like it was a really popular idea.
No, God, no. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I did talk to people that want the sidewalks, and just about everybody wasn't on Pike Ave.
Yeah.
So, but the residents right on Pike Ave were just against it. So I was able to talk to Michael Tyler, who's just does a great job.
Head of Public Works.
Yeah, head of Public Works, and he's just been a big help. Never, it's like, okay, we'll get this done. I mean, without those guys, him, Bobby Ruggio, and the rest of his crew, it's never a complaint, never nothing. Okay, whatever we need to do, and it's always taken care of. And I mean, they're just a great group.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, a lot of politician people like us take a lot of credit for the work that city employees do. They make people like me and you look good over the years by their hard work. And,
you're 100% right. And it's really, it's me asking a simple question, and it's these guys getting it done.
Well, sometimes it's someone like you knowing the right person to ask. That can be half the battle.
Well, before I got on the council, I was always calling, Jay Delisio, now president of the council, and was acting mayor, and I would always call him, or give Kate Jackson a buzz. And then I got to know Jim Hawkins, and another great guy that does a lot for the Attleboro and stuff. So I'd always be going to them. So I still bug Jay, because he's got a lot more knowledge on the council than I do, and how do I get through this and get through that? So I drive him crazy. Well,
there's a learning curve to everything.
Exactly.
And as we said earlier, I mean, you've been a councilor now for just a little bit over a year. Have there been some things you've encountered as a councilor that surprised you? Something out of the ordinary you didn't see coming? Or?
Oh, yeah. There was some that I probably can't talk about. And, but what I did get to know is all the different personalities, and everybody's different. Everybody works differently, and we got a lot of really good people. We get like I already mentioned, Ty. We got Rick Conti, that he's got a huge workload. What he's got to do. We got Laura Dolan.
I mean, the council, as I see it, is made up of 11 really good people at this point. It's as you know, it's not easy to get a group of people like that to work together. Everyone's got their own personality and temperament.
And what I learned is, because you get the social media, and everybody, and I was one of them too. You just want to bash someone right away. Oh, I don't like this, and you don't know the whole story. And so it's immediately we're going to bash them. And I did it too. I was guilty of it as well too. And but I see in the backgrounds what these guys do and how hard they work and everything, you know, and they care. They really care, but they need to make, and they always make the best decision what it is, you know, for the city in their wards, you know, also.
Well, as we all know, it's much easier to be a critic than it is to be involved in the process of solving the problem.
Yeah. One of the first things I did that kind of got my attention with Jay Delisio was there was a four-way stop sign. There was a place that didn't have a stop sign, and God, someone almost just barreled me at the stop sign, you know, because it wasn't a four-way, and so I said something to Jay about it, and I don't know, it was like a month later, or seemed like a month later or something or other, and all of a sudden there's a four-way stop sign, and it was right near a school over at St. John's. And I was like, wow, that was just fast and quick, and I thought this was going to be years from now, you know, and I was like, well, that was pretty cool.
Well, it's a good example of how much of a difference one person speaking up can make. Right? Sometimes it's simply a matter of someone drawing attention to a problem. And again, like someone like yourself, new getting involved in politics, I bet you've gotten a lot of your family and friends and people around you interested who maybe before didn't think much of politics, huh?
Oh, yeah. I've been going around getting signatures, and I'm already certified. I got that done immediately, and I still have more, and I'm going to give them more just so they can have them and stuff. But I was also walking around with getting people signed up to vote, too, as well.
Yeah, which is always a good thing.
You know, because I had friends that, you know, were, look at whatever it takes, I'll do whatever and stuff, so get them signed up, and now they're signed up, they're signing my paper, and they can also vote too as well.
That's great.
Yeah,
because we need to do everything we can to encourage more people to get out and vote. You know, it really it makes a difference, but people don't seem to fully grasp that.
I early on, I really didn't grasp it. I mean, I voted, sometimes I would vote, probably was the last 10, maybe 20 years is when I really got a lot more into making sure that I voted. You know, you take it for granted. You don't realize how important it is, you know. So probably the last 20 years.
Again, as we get older, we realize that some of the most important things in life are the ones we take for granted. You know, and it isn't until, you know, they might take something away from you, then you realize, oh boy.
Exactly.
So what things do you hope to accomplish in the near future as a councilor?
Well, my one responsibility will always be is to listen to people when they call and see what I can do. I can't always get something done, can't always do it. We need to be fiscally responsible. There's been a lot of spending over the last few years. There's money that has come through, and I'm learning this. This is all new to me. You know, budgets and all that stuff. It's you know, that's just new. I'm trying to work it as being a sale. I would always have to forecast, and now it's not forecasting, it's budgets for the city. So we're going to do that, and I still don't have enough knowledge, and I'm leaning on, you know, guys that can do it, or guys, girls, leaning on them for their knowledge and stuff, and trying to learn that more, and realizing that we probably need to be obviously more careful than we have been, because the money's going to dry up. It's not going to keep coming in like that. So.
Right. Well, the pandemic kind of changed everything. We had this influx of money, and yet we cut back on doing a lot of basic services. So that money will be soon gone. And I agree with you. I think one of the things I'm sure you found that I found is that in business, there's a lot better communication.
Oh my!
In government, just to find out basic information is sometimes a challenge.
Oh, incredibly! And you gotta. There's so many different rules and procedures. Robert's rules and procedures. You gotta be careful. When can I ask this question? When can I not ask that question? It can be. It's just like I feel like I should just be able to ask anything at any time and get whatever information I need. But there's all certain rules. Is when you can and when you can't. And I'm still learning all that. And but you know, one of the big things that we need to do obviously is the Council on Aging. You know, that is very important.
And that seems to me to be something that almost everyone is in agreement on needs to happen. It's as I say, the devil's in the details.
Where's it going to be?
Right.
And how are we going to pay for it? That's the big thing, because the school was a big chunk, and you know, you've seen the bills like I've seen the bills. You know, with the house prices being adjusted too. It wasn't just a raise from the high school, it was everybody's income, property went way up.
Oh yeah. People are having a tougher and tougher time meeting their bills. There's no question about it. That's the one thing that I saw recently campaigning was that everybody seems to be stressed about being able to meet their bills, and that's a real problem.
I've had to cut back. I live alone with my 3 dogs and my cats, and so I live alone. So my daughter just moved out, so it's I'm the only income, so it's
that's a challenge.
It's a challenge, So that's why I work as much as I do.
Now, do you have anything else beyond being a counselor that you have an interest in doing in the future that you haven't already had a chance to do?
I haven't already had a chance.
Well, maybe you might be one of those lucky guys who's done so many things. Maybe you've actually tried just about all the things you were hoping to do.
Well, my work, I travel so much for my work, so that has kind of got me a little burnt out. And as you know, I'm still traveling, and I will continue to travel because I love my job, and but I just wouldn't like to travel as much. So that is not at the top, but there are some areas I would like to travel, maybe go on a cruise, go to Key West, maybe the Bahamas and everything, but I love New Hampshire. So
again, on Facebook, I've seen many times when you posted stuff from there.
I cross the border, and my stress level goes from here to here. So,
and you need that sometimes. And that's the thing. When someone like yourself who does so many important things, sometimes you need a break. In order to be able to do those things.
A dream would be to have a cabin or cottage, something up in New Hampshire somewhere, or it could even be Maine, and it could even be Vermont, but somewhere, that would be something I'll add in. I take my camper everywhere, so it would be easier just to go to a place and have it already there.
That's cool. Now, Mike, we got about a minute left here. Is there anything you'd like to share with the people out there in the city? Any information? Feel free to.
Well, just that, one, obviously get out and vote. We'll have another, going to be electing for another councilor soon. And then we're going to have another all-important
election in November.
At the end of November for, everybody. But let's there's, I would say, let's get out and, if you can adopt a dog, take care of a dog or a cat, let's do that. Let's get over to the senior center. Let's help out with the seniors. Get out and let's just get out and help in the community and stuff, and volunteer, pick up something. We got a lot of committees that don't have people on there, and there's a lot of things to do.
That's an incredible good point, is that there are so many ways in which people can volunteer and be involved in the community. And we've spoken about quite a few of them here today, but there are dozens and dozens that we haven't even mentioned. And I want to thank you for being with us here, this evening. It's nice to see people that I've known for a long time getting even more actively involved in the community, and I greatly appreciate and respect all the stuff that you've done already as a counselor, and look forward to what you're going to do in the future. And I'd like to thank all of you out there for tuning in this week. Hopefully over the next several weeks, we're going to have a lot of guests that you will find interesting, and hopefully you'll tune in again for people it's good to know. Have a good evening. There are so many people out there who want to volunteer and find a way in which they can help.
We've got some brilliant people that have come out of the school system here in Attleboro.
You actually perform as an elected official the way people should.
There are no agendas. Nobody has any projects that they have to complete, but we're just sharing information